Am I the asshole for telling my grandma I don't support her getting married? Throwaway for anonymity. I tried posting this last night but messed it somehow, hope this works. My 28F grandma, 80F, and I are very close. She is one of my best friends and just the greatest lady in the world. We live far apart but I usually call her once or twice a week. A few weeks ago I found out via the family group chat that my grandma has a new special friend. I told her I was a little hurt that she didn't tell me herself because we speak so frequently, but I was really happy for her to have found someone she connects with. I was visiting my family soon afterwards and got to meet the new boyfriend, 70SM, who we'll call Bill, and he seemed nice enough. I've spoken to my grandma a few times since then, and she's been with Bill every time. She seemed really happy and told me about their latest adventures. Today I got a call from my mom, with fresh news. Apparently Grandma and Bill went to get a marriage certificate last week, and were planning to get married this coming Saturday. After talking to my parents, Grandma decided to put a pause on the wedding for now, but they still have the certificate, which means they can go to the courthouse anytime, and they still plan to use it in the future. This evening I called my grandma and told her that I was really worried about her decision. I had been super team Bill previously, I loved seeing her so happy, but that this was way too fast. They've only been dating between 1 and 2 months, and this rush to marriage makes it seem like something fishy is going on. My grandma is the kind of person who will agree with whoever is right in front of her to avoid conflict, and I told her I'm worried she's being pushed into something before she's able to really get to know Bill. My grandma was a bit cagey with her responses, but basically just said she doesn't like that we are implying that her love will fade, and we don't understand that timings are different when you're older. My parents and siblings are on the same page as me, and I feel like our instinct that this is way too fast is correct. But talking to Grandma made me feel bad as well. I could tell she wanted me to just be happy and excited for her. I know that in some cases people can be weirdly overprotective of their older relatives and strange about them dating, and I don't want to do that. So I figured I'd come here for an outside perspective? Am I being an asshole for expressing my concerns and not just supporting my grandma? A few potentially relevant points. Both Grandma and Bill are religious, but Bill more so. My grandma mentioned once that he thought it was a sin to kiss her. Bill's previous wife died about 1.5 years ago, a fake. My grandma had previously said she would never walk down the aisle again after the disaster that was my grandpa. She's had other partners over the years but never considered marriage to my knowledge. Both are financially comfortable, with him having more money than her probably. Edits for additional context on things that are coming up frequently in comments. They knew each other through choir once a week for about a year prior to dating. Had not seen each other outside of choir during that time as far as I know. Her religiousness is not preventing her from moving in together or being physical. That is all him. She had a common law partner for about 30 years who since passed. The one-sidedness is a big concern as it creates a lot of pressure for her to get married because of his beliefs, which she doesn't share. Based on what he's told her, he has more assets than her, which I think is why he had convinced her they don't need a prenup. He offered to show her his bank account and she refused. In our area, a spouse does not automatically get everything, but they can sue for 50% of the estate if they did not get that much in the will. I honestly don't care about the money, I just want to make sure he's not scamming her. I hope my grandma spends her last dollar the day she dies. I would rather her spend her money to have a good time in life than try to hoard it for her kids and grandkids. I'm more worried about things like power of attorney, or him isolating her from us in some way. I am concerned about her marrying the type of person who doesn't care what her family thinks, or how his actions will impact her relationship with her family. It was really predictable that we were shocked and concerned about the speed they're going, and instead of sitting us down and talking it through, telling us their reasoning, they just made a plan to get married and deal with the consequences later. Luckily, a bunch of her friends found out their plan and started saying they were going to come to the wedding. This made my grandma decide to tell my mom, because she didn't want her friends but not her daughter to be there, and after talking with my parents she has decided to not get married this week. But what kind of dude would be okay with pushing her to do that in the first place? I would love to get to know Bill better and include him in the family. I was super excited to meet him, and was very welcoming. When he was on speakerphone during our phone calls I tried to include him and chat with him. My feelings are much more mixed now, because I don't trust the kind of person who would push my grandma to marry them this fast. I understand your concern, but your grandma's 80 and Bill's 70. They don't really have the time to take things slow. This is no assholes here situation. Nah. You have legitimate concerns, and it's very much worth expressing them to someone you love. At the same time, she's very much an adult and has the right to make her own decisions, even if they seem rushed or foolish to others. Of course you are concerned. You don't know him, so make a point of getting to know him, meet his family. It may seem rushed to you, but an 80-year-old perceives time differently. I think that the fact that they are both religious is very relevant here. They want to live together and, I'm sorry to give you the visual, to have sex. And they aren't comfortable doing that outside of marriage. Hopefully they have a good while left, but who knows how much longer they are still going to be physically active. Your concerns are valid, but please try to see things from Grandma and Bill's perspective. Just make sure she has talked to a lawyer and has things squared away and wish them the best. Unpopular vote here, you are the asshole. Do you really think you're going to stop Grandma from getting married with your judgmental comments? At 80? No. But you're gonna make her feel unsupported and stressed. Get your nose out of it. They can't wait at that age, and your meddling might have a serious impact on what could have otherwise been happiness in your grandmother's twilight. Am I the asshole for laughing at my mother and then ending the call? I, 21F, and my mother have a pretty normal relationship, apart from a couple arguments here and there. The arguments usually stem from my father. My dad and I basically have zero relationship. It has been an accumulation of him being quite mean and nasty to me my entire childhood. I don't really care about our lack of relationship and don't have any desire to fix it. However, the relationship with my father is causing strain with my relationship with my mother. My mum can be quite chill, but my dad is not. He is an extreme authoritarian, and whenever me and him have a disagreement, my mum constantly betrays me and takes his side, regardless of the situation and how she really feels. It has been happening quite a lot recently, and a recent situation has made me start to question a lot. I'm currently in college and live about a 2.5-hour drive from my hometown. My dad has been demanding I wake up early every Sunday morning to join a live-streamed church service. I've made it quite clear that church isn't really my thing. I'm not an atheist, but I do not like the atmosphere of most churches. However, whenever I am at home I still go because I have to listen to the rules when I am under their roof. However, when I am in college I don't see any reason to join, and I simply don't want to. This has been a point of contention for years, and it's mostly going back and forth between me refusing to join and me trying to appease him and just giving in. The relationship between my parents and I has gotten considerably worse recently, and I've decided that I won't give in to their demands anymore, as I'm not a child. I didn't join the church call last Sunday, and in the evening my mother rang me. She was furious. She called me selfish, inconsiderate, and said I only care about myself. The reason why she said this is because whenever I don't listen to my dad, he takes his anger out on her. She says she shouts at her and that I need to just give in because she's being shouted at because of my actions. She's mentioned this before but never like this. She went on a long rant and then asked for an apology. I couldn't take the ridiculousness anymore, and I guess she could hear me trying to stifle my laughs. She asked me if I was laughing and I said no, but I guess it wasn't convincing enough. She went silent for about 3 minutes without saying anything, and at that point I just ended the call. We haven't spoken since. I mostly laughed because of the shock, but really I am quite hurt and angry. I don't think I should be responsible for fixing my parents' marriage. It makes me sad that my own mother is choosing to appease my horrid father over a relationship with me. Am I the asshole? Edit. I've mentioned in the comments that I am partially financially dependent on them, as they pay my rent out here. This information has led to people telling me that I am indeed the asshole. I would like to pay my own rent, however, my parents were very adamant about me not working. They said it would interfere with school. I had a part-time job lined up, told them about it casually, and they went nuclear and told me to quit. Not the asshole. You are not responsible for your father's bad behavior. If you do not want to go, they cannot force you to. I think forcing someone to join you for church is the real selfish thing to do. Also, people who point out he is the asshole because he laughed. I mostly laughed because of the shock, but really I am quite hurt and angry. It is called nervous laughter. It can happen. He is not mocking her. Not the asshole. You have to set boundaries. But you also need to follow up with your mother and explain that you love her and you feel hurt. She needs to know that you do not think you will have a meaningful relationship with your father, and you understand that she wants to stay with him but that you refuse to do what he wishes. Not the asshole and I am sorry your mum won't stand up for you, and herself. Not the asshole. You need to put it to your mom this way. She is not being verbally abused because of anything you are doing. She is being verbally abused because your father chooses to take his anger out on her. But don't laugh at her. She's not being ridiculous, she's just trying to make an intolerable situation a little safer for herself. She's reacting how he's trained her to react, put pressure on you to do what he wants in order to lessen his wrath. It doesn't make it your responsibility, but be kind to her. Can you just turn on the live stream and they see you're there and turn off the speakers? Am I the asshole for not letting my friend come along with me to a Taylor Swift concert? Okay, this happened about a month ago, but I'm still facing the repercussions. I, F19, and my casual friend, F19, had planned to go to the Eras tour in August. Let's call her Juno. Juno and I are both huge fans and I booked us tickets, which she said she'll pay me for afterwards. However, a week before the concert, I went out for dinner with Juno and her inner circle. This group was the elitist, film studies major kind. They made fun of my background and compared my interests to their superior ones the whole night, and when I brought up that I was working on an unfinished book, they suddenly became experts in literature themselves. They gave me unsolicited advice that had heavy condescending undertones to it. Whenever I asked about their lives, they had a "you just wouldn't get it" attitude about it. I was very caught off guard. They straight up called me uncultured and simple-minded for not knowing some niche terms, etc. They were nor laughing with me, they were laughing at me. Turns out, I was an inside joke to them. I was having a convo with two of the girls there, and they started asking about my monetary issues, and discussing my exes and even their current GFS. Juno had divulged all my secrets to them and gained approval from them in return. I felt exposed, and since they were pretty drunk by that point, they couldn't see that I was uncomfortable. They were very invested in my personal life and told me where I was going wrong. Some things they knew about me were straight up untrue. From there, I also found out that Juno had been trying to make moves on my current partner, and that I could lose him too, like I did my exes. It was all very funny to them. Needless to say, I went back home that night and cried. I didn't contact Juno up until the concert, and she didn't bother to do so either since I was always the one initiating our convos. On the day of the concert, I took another friend with me, and posted it on social media. Juno kept calling me the whole day, and since I hadn't sent her the tickets, she couldn't go. At the end of the day, I finally picked up her phone and said I was busy so I'd missed her previous calls. Juno was livid. She called me very selfish for stealing her only opportunity to go to the concert she's wanted to for so long. I told her then maybe she shouldn't have spread rumors about me to her pretentious friend group and then set me up to be humiliated by them. Juno was crying, and said she would have booked separate tickets if she knew I was so flaky. She didn't even acknowledge my accusations, and kept whining about the concert. TBH, I didn't even ditch her to get revenge or whatever, I just wanted to enjoy my day with actually decent people. Flash forward and Juno still keeps harassing me by DMing my friends and gossiping about how BTCHY I was. I shared this with my boyfriend and he thinks I was too harsh on her, and I should have been the bigger person and given her her own ticket at least. So, AITA? Block this toxic girl. And your boyfriend siding with her is Seuss. Glad you have some actual friends and were able to enjoy the concert. Not the asshole. Not the asshole but your boyfriend is. Check if he is already seeing Juno. Not the asshole for deciding to sell her ticket to someone else after the way she and her friends treated you. To be above reproach though, you should have called or texted her with that info immediately after the night out from hell. That would be about you wanting to enjoy the concert with an actual friend. You definitely had your toe up to the line, if not fully crossed over it, when you didn't tell her until the day of the show. That was about you wanting to hurt her. That's not a good look. Her transgressions are far worse though, so I'd say she's the asshole and you had a catty moment. Not the asshole your boyfriend is an idiot. Be the bigger person is a moronic thing to say. It's only said to the person who is in the right by someone who wants the one in the wrong to get their way. You said the friends told you Juno was trying to make moves on him? Maybe they are working? Not the asshole, what goes around comes around, this is karma. Loyalty and friendship is a two-way thing. This person was not your friend and showed no loyalty. They discussed your monetary issues. Had this girl even paid for the ticket? Am I the asshole for telling my mom our relationship strain is her fault? I, 22F. Recently moved back to my parents' house for my last year of college to save money since all of my classes are online this semester and next. My boyfriend and I are sexually active. In the last few months, we got some new sex stuff, not crazy, just like restraints and handcuffs. I put them in a separate small box and on top wrote, "Private, do not open." My mom and stepdad were very respectful of my privacy by letting me put it in the moving truck and were very good about not asking or touching the box. When we finished moving my stuff that day, my boyfriend and I got food while they headed home and put my boxes in my room. It's been 2 months and I've moved some of the boxes around now that I'm finally fully settling in. This morning while my family was at work, I noticed the private box had been tampered with. I immediately asked my mom because she's the only person I think would look, and after a few minutes of denial, she tells me that she did in fact look. She said she wanted to know if I was doing drugs, but when she saw the contents, closed it back up and didn't say a word to anyone. Today, I had my aunt to administer my birth control shot since she is a nurse, and when I got home, my mom was with said aunt on speakerphone and said, "Yeah, she just got back from meeting you." To which my aunt made a joke to my mom about my boyfriend and I using our sex stuff now that I got my shot. My mom immediately took it off of speaker and told my aunt she'd have to call her back. I asked my mom what that was about and became super angry and embarrassed. My mom tells me that she has a right to look through my things regardless of how old I am, especially if I'm living under her roof. I say that that's an invasion of privacy and there should be a mutual respect between two adults. But she said that I will never receive full privacy as an adult because she is my mom. Here's where I fear I may have been the asshole. I then told her that that attitude is exactly why I never opened up to her about traumas and why my 16Y0 sister also doesn't either. I told her that because she always tells other people business we confide in her about or that she finds out by snooping, is a big reason I've stopped telling her what's going on in my life outside of what she absolutely needs to know. She got super upset and started crying and said that I was an asshole for taking things that far because all she wanted to do was make sure I wasn't doing any drugs or anything illegal. I told her that even if I was, it's not her place to go through my things that I clearly said were private, even if she is a parent. I also said that if I was doing things that were illegal, I would be way more inclined to tell her if she didn't tell everybody else my business. My stepdad said that I was kind of an asshole for telling her that she was the reason we didn't open up to her and made her feel like she was a bad mother, but my sister said it's the truth and what she needed to hear. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. But she said that I will never receive full privacy as an adult because she is my mom. Yeah, you will. Cut her out of your life. This is 100% on her. It sounds like the bigger issue is that she gossips about what you share with her in confidence. Not the asshole for telling her that. A mother needs to know how to keep her kids' confidences so they can trust her. Clearly you and your sister don't trust her and she needs to know that. Not the asshole. It is quite simple. Actions have consequences. Depriving someone of privacy, snooping around and crossing boundaries by telling your private stuff to others result in not feeling safe and having no trust to open up. Your mother needed to know why things are the way they are. She didn't like it, but now maybe it will force her to change her ways. To me, it seems that you did her a favor. Not the asshole. And by the way, writing, "Do not open" on a box is a guaranteed way to ensure someone opens it. You know what type of a mother you have. Are you sure you didn't set her up in a passive-aggressive way? Not the asshole. My mother did this too. Invaded my privacy because she's my mother and just concerned. She also told my aunt things I asked her not to because she's family so it's okay. It wasn't. Everything you said to her was absolutely right. Her refusal to see it that way doesn't mean she gets away with it. You hit the nail on the head. BTW, I'm now LC with my mother partially because she did exactly what she does to you. You might have to do the same with yours one day.